All right, guys, welcome back to another lesson. We're going to kind of backtrack a little bit and we are going to go over factoring. So, um, this is review. This is something you should have seen before. So, if you don't remember exactly how to do it, that's okay. And then, we start going over it and then you're like, oh, yeah, that's looking a lot more familiar. I remember that. Uh, and you think it's easy, just bear with me because I just want to make sure that we hit some things that we're going to need to know how to do for the school year. So for a think slash warm up, I have multiply x minus 5 times x plus 3. And, um, you know, you just multiply everything together. So x times x is going to get us x squared. Minus 5 times x is going to get us minus 5x. X times positive 3 is going to be plus 3x, and minus 5 times positive 3 is minus 15. And then we can put those together. Minus 5x plus 3x. If you have minus 5 of something and plus 3 of something, that'll leave you with minus 2 of that something and minus 15. So, just, getting us warmed up for factoring. So first off, what is a factor? And I'm not going to write it out here, but a factor is something that can be divided. Uh, a factor is a number that can be multiplied by another number, a whole number, to get something. So, like if 24, right, a factor of 24 would be 6, right? 6 times 4. So 4 would also be a factor. 12 is a factor, right? And if I had 24x squared, then x is a factor, right? And another x is a factor. So that's what a factor is. And then a greatest common factor is the largest factor that can go into multiple things. And we're going to look at an example of that. But this is also known as the GCF. So, factor completely, I'm looking at both of these things and I'm saying, what can I take out of that, right? And here I see that 2y is divisible by 2 and so is negative 6. So I'm going to take a 2 out and that's going to leave me with y minus 3, right? Because 2 times y would be 2y and 2 times negative 3 would be negative 6. So that's all that one is. And then for a quick one here, 3x squared minus 12x. Again, I see that I can take a 3 out of both of those things, but there's something else that we can take out of both of those things, and that is an x, right? We can take an x out of both of those. So 3x times what gets us 3x squared? Just x. And 3x times what gets us 12x? Or negative 12x, and that would be minus 4, right? And then just double check, 3x times x gets us 3x squared. 3x times negative 4 gives us negative 12x. All right, so factoring x squared plus next slide there. Factoring x squared plus bx plus c. Let's look at this x minus 5, x plus 3 again. So that gave us x squared minus 2x minus 15, if we remember. So x minus 5 times x plus 3 turned into that. And how does that help us, right? So when we have a single x squared, right, there's an invisible 1 in front of there. When we just have x squared, what does that mean? It means we know that we're going to have an x times an x, right? That's what that implies, because if I had like a 2x here on one of these, that would get us 2x squared, right? So they both have to be just x and x. So we know that's how we have to start out. And then we know that these last two numbers, negative 5 and 3, that has to multiply to this last number. Oh, and then that minus 5 and that plus 3 add to be that middle number. So that's kind of the strategy that we're looking at. So steps to factoring x squared plus bx plus c. The first thing I do whenever I just see, with the invisible one in front of there's nothing in front of there, I just immediately set it up. I'm like, okay, I know that has to be x and x. Let me find out what has to go in those empty spaces, right? And here's the thing. Numbers that multiply to c, so that last number, and add to b. And then you would just fill your parentheses with whatever it is. So let's say the two numbers I did that were -3 and 2, right? Then you would just put -3 and +2. And that would get you there. And then you could check it again by expanding your binomials. So you would check by multiplying, to back out. And let's just go through an example. So factor each expression completely. So we're looking for something that multiplies to 20 and adds to 9. And I see that invisible 1 in front of that x squared. So I know that I can just immediately set up my parentheses like that. And now multiples of 20, there's, of course, 20 and 1. Or I'll write this over here. So multiples of 20. We have 20 and 1. I don't see how that could add to 9. So let's keep going. We have 10 and 2. I don't see how that could get us to 9. So let's keep going. We have 4 and 5. Ooh, if we add those together, that'll get us 9. And that works out, right? So if we do +4 and +5, then we're going to end up getting x squared plus 4x plus 5x, and then plus 20, and plus 4x plus 5x is plus 9x. So this works out. So now we have a similar one here. I see that invisible 1 in front of that x squared. I'm just immediately going to set it up. And now we need to multiply to -12 and add to -4. So, we have 12 and 1. I don't see how that can get us 4. And we have 6 and 2. Oh, that could get us -4 if we have a -6, and that's what we need, right? We need -6 and 2 to get -12. So that works. So let's just put in -6 and +2. And that should work, but we can just check our answers, right? X times x is going to be x squared minus 6x plus 2x is going to be minus 4x. And then minus 6 times positive 2 is minus 12. So this works out. All right. Last one here. Again, we see that invisible 1 in front of the x squared. So I'm setting it up right away. And then we need to multiply to 18 and add to -11. And these signs give away things, right? So since we have a positive on the outside here and we have a negative on the middle term, well, the only way to get negative on the middle term is if we have subtraction somewhere, right? But then if this was positive over here, then we would get a negative constant times a positive constant, which would be negative and not positive. So we know that over here we're also going to need minus. And you can do that same thing up here, right? You have to add in the middle and on the right, so you know that they both have to be positive. And then the middle one is kind of the special case. the last number has to be negative, which automatically tells you that you need a plus and a minus. So, multiples of 18. 18 and 1 is not going to get us to 9. 9 and 2 could get us there if they're both negative, right? Negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18, and that adds to negative 11. So we could just throw those in there and then just double check to make sure it works. X times x is x squared, minus 9x, minus 2x is minus 11x, and then negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18. So it turns out that it works. And that's all for our first part of factoring. Next, we're going to work on special cases of factoring.